We're continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation. We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
We're off on a good start.
In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own. It's turning itself into the direction of facing the heat shield toward Mars, and will eventually hitting the top of the atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here on out.
That's confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating the cruise stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun. At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that have kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We are about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, the vehicle is pointed in the right direction. Thrusters are warmed up and doing their job. And now we've spun down from the 2 revolutions per minute that the vehicle had the whole way to Mars. It was a spin-stabilized spacecraft. And then from here on out, it's going to just be a bullet, and it's going to control its orientation and attitude via rockets on the back of that back shell.
Points carrier lock. The DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock. You see the carrier on the downlink. Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, and now we wait. As soon as we get to the top of the atmosphere, it will be very quickly, which is the entry point. It won't be very long before the atmosphere will start getting thicker and thicker. It's going very quickly at a fairly steep angle of 15 degrees into the atmosphere, and as it starts to slow down.
We're just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay, what we're looking for now is Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should be in view soon of our vehicle and be able to listen to ones and zeros coming from a separate radio that's really designed to talk between spacecraft.
Camera reports the electro radio is powered on, ready to receive signals from the lander.
Okay. MRO is ready and able and waiting to hear from our rover.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight Level 1
from entry interface.
We don't need these ones and zeros, as Swati said, but to land safely. But we really need it for our own health and well-being today, to keep our nerves under control. But
around this time, a second spacecraft, MAVEN, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay. Very soon we'll be getting ones and zeros, I hope, from our radio on the rover. The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So the tones can tell us whether something's bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land, which is a great sign.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry. We are 1 minute from entry interface.
MROs are in receive mode.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars. Confirm your jet data flow. about seconds from entry interface. 5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars. The spacecraft is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of Mars to slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target. Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
The vehicle should be doing its turns right now.
MRO has lost lock.
Perseverance. We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
MRO has lock again.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance is going about 1 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, but to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target. Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
MRO is reporting good telemetry log.
We are coming upon the straighten up. We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground. The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 430 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars. Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Yes.
Perseverance now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers of the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers. We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation. We have priming of the landing engines. Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct to Earth tones.
As expected.
Sky crane maneuver has started. About 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO.
UHF is good. Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
Oh my God.
MRO reports they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
All right, all stations.
We got it.
Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
Wow.
This is so exciting. The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal. Stay tuned. We might get some pictures.
Great.
So much has been riding on this.
Yeah, we just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars.
It's not
Flight, we have seen the completion of EDL 3000. Copy activity. That is as expected.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
We we've just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars. Congratulations to the mission. And looks like we have some more news in. It looks like we're getting the first image. Here, take a look at the first image.
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready. We are ready, OL3. Go for it. Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
The team has just put the first image from Perseverance on the surface of Mars. Now, it comes from the engineering cameras, known as the hazard camera. This camera is mainly used to help the rover drive safely around Mars, and we will get higher resolution photos later in the day.
Look at that, right? You get the safe.
Let's see our engine. Nice. This is amazing.
Here's Andrew.
For Steve. Stand by for Steve.
You did. You led the team. You made it happen. Congratulations.
We just got our second image in. Our second image is in.
Okay, these we have a camera in the front and rear of the spacecraft. They're near the ground, so these are pretty close. So you can see the wheels there, and they're a little dirty because we've got glass covers over these cameras. But we took these seconds after landing, so there's still dust in the air from our landing event. So this is happening. This happened just seconds ago. Just arrived, and this is really amazing. And we even know where we landed. This is the most amazing thing. The vehicle has told us where it's landed because it figured it out. This is a sign. NASA works. NASA works. And when we put our arms together and our hands together and our brains together, we can succeed. This is what NASA does. This is what we can do as a country. On all of the problems we have, we need to work together to do these kinds of things and make success happen.
Joining us now is the acting administrator of NASA, Steve Jurasik. Steve, welcome and congratulations.
Hey, thank you. What an amazing day.
And how does it feel to have another rover on Mars?
It's amazing to have Perseverance join Curiosity on Mars, and just a credit to the team. I mean, just what an amazing team to work through all the adversity that goes and all the challenges that go with landing a rover on Mars, plus the challenges of COVID, and just an amazing accomplishment.
And what does this mean for NASA and its future plans?
So for robotic exploration, every time we execute a mission with new instruments, we discover new things and things we never thought we would discover. So that always informs our future robotic missions, both landers, rovers, and orbiters. This mission also has technology on it. One of the cool things is the Ingenuity helicopter. It's an experiment on this mission, but if it's successful, we can use it as an science observation platform by putting instruments on it, and also use it as a scout for future rover missions, and then just the entry, descent, and landing capability. It'll allow us to land more larger, more ambitious robots on the surface of Mars. And then for human exploration, we have the Mars entry, descent, and landing instrumentation, which is going to give us EDL information. We have the Mars Environmental Dynamics Analyzer. It's going to give us properties, size and properties of dust particles, because when we send people, we're going to have to deal with that dust. This is just an incredible mission because of the science and the technology, and then caching samples for our Mars sample return mission. That will be an amazing mission, the first round trip to Mars and back, and bringing those samples cached by Perseverance back to Earth to examine with state-of-the-art equipment in our laboratories here on Earth.
We have so much to look forward to. And we also have a student question coming in from Landon. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Landon Applegate. I'm in 6th grade and I'm going to Academy for Academic Excellence. And my question is, do you think we could get resources from Mars to help on future missions, or even as like a launching point?
Great question, Landon. Actually, we have an experiment called the Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, or MOXIE, and it's going to demonstrate generating oxygen from atmospheric CO2, and that could help generate breathable oxygen, and even if we can liquefy it, oxidizer for propulsion systems. So that's a tech demo on Perseverance. And then we're going to continue to characterize the frozen water on and below the surface of Mars, and eventually try to figure out how to extract that water from the Martian soil, or what we call regolith. And then we can use that for potable water, and also break it down into oxygen and hydrogen for rocket fuel. So absolutely, we're going to try to eventually figure out how to live off the land to support human missions to Mars.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, Steve.
Thank you.
And now that Perseverance has safely touched down on Mars, let's learn more about what's in store for the rover. Joining us now is Surface Mission Manager Jessica Samuels. Jessica, your surface operations team has now taken over. What are they doing now?
Yes, hi Raquel. We are so excited here in the surface mission support area. The team will do a handover with the entry, descent, and landing team and pass any critical information. And then this team behind us will be the team that does the health and safety assessments daily as we progress on this mission.
And what do the upcoming weeks look like for your team?
So as we enter Mars time now, the commanding team will be working overnight while the rover is asleep, so that we can perform the initial checkouts of our key rover functions and our science instruments. And we have to do this all in time for the regularly scheduled communication pass, which happens in the morning. And so we will be working around the clock, making sure that Perseverance is healthy, and we will begin this exciting adventure.
And can you tell me, what's it like living on Mars time?
It's a little bit like constantly, flying and changing your time zone. The rover, on Earth, the rover wakes up at the same time every day, but on Earth, that's 40 minutes later. So the team is going to be shifting our work schedule by 40 minutes as we come into work over the next few weeks. So it'll be exciting, and some late nights, but we're also excited, and we can't wait.
It's a whole new lifestyle.
Yes.
We also have a student question for you. This is Sophia's video.
Hi, my name is Sophia Lopez, and my question for NASA is, how's Perseverance gonna survive? And here's a drawing that I made from Perseverance thinking about Earth. Thank you.
Well, Sophia, Perseverance survives with a power source that charges its batteries overnight while it sleeps, and it keeps heaters on so that all of our critical electronics can stay warm, as well as our mechanism. But it's really survived by the team that performs the health and safety assessments every day and communicates with the rover and makes sure that she's doing okay.
Well, thanks for your time, Jessica, and good luck living on Mars time.
Thank you. Should be fun.
Let's head back to Marina as she gives us a sneak peek into the future at JPL.
Thanks so much, Raquel. It's definitely bustling behind me. It's not quiet like it was just 20 minutes ago. And congrats to the whole team. What an amazing accomplishment. Mike Watkins is the director of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He was the mission manager during the Curiosity rover landing on Mars. Welcome, Mike.
Oh, thanks. Glad to be here. You can see all my mask markings on.
Well, you were just celebrating, and rightly so. Now, you've been around for a number of Mars landings. What makes this one special?
Well, you know, two things. I mean, it's the biggest and best rover we've ever sent to Mars, and it can really, you know, do amazing things in terms of, you know, its own scientific exploration of this habitable environment, you know, at Jezero. But, you know, it's also, as you've heard today, you know, it's the first step in Mars sample return. So really, you know, it's not only doing its own mission, it's setting us up for a series of missions and to bring those samples back. And, you know, a lot of the effort to develop the rover was specifically designed, you know, for that sampling and caching system. It's one of the most complex robotic systems ever made. And, you know, having it down safely means Mars sample return continues right on course, and we are moving forward.
Wonderful. Now, JPL has a long history with robotic space exploration. Why do you think it's so important to continue to push those boundaries?
You know, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, obviously, you know, for places that are far away, like Mars, and even farther away, you know, like Europa, right now, robotic exploration is the only way we can make these scientific discoveries and really understand these early habitable environments. In the case of Europa, maybe it's even still habitable. And, you know, we're not ready to go there with astronauts yet, but the robots are ready to go there. And so we always, you know, are forerunners and pathfinders of human exploration. And we start by sending, you know, our eyes and arms there in the form of a robot. And it is just fantastic to be able to do that and to learn from each rover, learn from the science and the engineering, and make the next one better and make more and more discoveries. And every time we do one of these missions, we make fabulous discoveries. And you know, each one is more exciting than the last.
The future does look exciting. Now, as director of JPL, what would you like to say to those teams right now celebrating?
Oh, you know, obviously they have earned it. Let me tell you. I mean, they have worked, you know, for years and years on this mission, and then in the past year, of course, we had the COVID experience, and you know, I want to thank not only the team but also, you know, all of JPL. You know, a lot of folks had to pitch in here, you know, in terms of making sure our remote telework, you know, our IT systems were good enough to support folks working from home. You know, all of the folks looking at PPE and our safe distancing and reconfiguring facilities to make them safe for the employees. It's just an incredible amount of work by the entire lab, and of course, especially by this team. And, you know, and in one sense, you know, the 7 minutes of terror are very exciting. But on the other hand, you know, the mission's just started, right? We built the mission, you know, not to land, but actually to drive and get the samples and do other technology, you know, demonstrations. And so, you know, for much of the team, you know, this part of the mission's over, but for most of the team, the mission's really just starting. And so, you know, I think they're very excited, but, you know, everybody, I think, can take a deep breath and a sigh of relief now that we are safely down on the surface.
Yes, that collective sigh of relief, and I hear a lot of excitement and celebration behind me as well. So thanks so much for joining.